This video is for my mom. Mom, the day after the elections took place, when we elected the electors on November 8th, you told me that you wanted a president who would unify our people, unify the people of the United States of America. So that's what this video is about, the value of unifying our people. Before unifying people can begin, all the people that you're unifying have to feel safe and trusting of one another and respectful of one another. My favorite quote on the subject is by Jesus Christ himself: love your neighbor as you love yourself.
I want to sleep with you. And
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Men and women of the United States of America, is this how you want your mothers to be treated? Is this how you want your daughters to be treated?
I did try and she was married.
It's huge news.
I took her out for a I moved in her like a but I couldn't get there, and she was married. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
Did you know that Donald Trump called women fat and pigs?
They said, how are you going to change the pageant? And I said, I'm going to get the bathing suits to be smaller.
Another reason why you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump is because he wants to build a wall.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
Growing up here in America, one thing I always heard was that there was a shortage of individuals who entered careers of science, engineering, and technology. And so I decided to be part of the solution. I actually earned a degree in mechanical engineering. I have a career in the technology sector, and I've spent almost a decade working with students, getting them to focus on entering careers in engineering. And I stand to lose all the work that I've done if the new administration decides to end DACA, which is the program that allows undocumented individuals like myself to have the ability to work. It's not an immigration status, it's just the ability to work. I will lose my career. My career will come to an end if that program ends. And I will also potentially be labeled for deportation, which means that I'm going to be removed from the communities that I contribute to so much. And so as 2017 starts, I'd like to ask for your advice. How would you advise somebody like me for planning my future and what lays ahead?
No, it's tragic to hear that. I have said that we need to relook at reentry, and 10 years is punitive. I would agree with that. We could probably make it a shorter period of time.
A reason why you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump because
when Donald Trump was elected President of the United States, hate crimes quickly became a topic of conversation, making headlines almost every day. The bulk of them came from some of the most liberal cities, including New York City, which saw a 115% spike in hate crimes overall. The NYPD reports that there has been at least 43 bias-related attacks since Trump's victory, compared to 20 that occurred at the same time last year. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio believes that Trump's campaign is partly to blame for the increase, telling reporters, "You can't have a candidate for president single out groups of Americans negatively and not have some ramifications for that."
17 black religious leaders from around the country signed an open letter to President-elect Trump urging him to reconsider his appointment of Bannon in order for the country to move forward. They wrote, quote, "The publicly reported information about Mr. Bannon makes reconciliation and unity extremely difficult. It is alarming that a man who provides a home to a movement that in turn is a home to white supremacists will have a senior position in the White House.
A Texas elector is quitting his job instead of voting for Donald Trump. Art Cisneros, a Republican member of the Electoral College, says he can't cast a vote for the president-elect as he believes Trump is, quote, not qualified to hold high office. And earlier this month, he wrote an entire blog post about the conflict of biblical voting in the, quote, age of Trump. He says his decision comes down to the fact that Trump isn't biblically qualified for the position.
As the results came in from the recent election, I personally saw the devastation and the fear in the eyes of my fellow Muslim family members, my friends. And so my question here is, how will the president-elect ensure the safety of the Muslims in this country, ensure and ease our minds as our young Muslim women go to school and wear their hijabs every day?
While defending his debunked claim that he saw thousands of Muslims celebrate the collapse of the Twin Towers here in New York, he appeared to mock a reporter with a disability. Take a look.
This guy, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said.
That reporter he is talking about is Serge Kovaleski, who now works for the New York Times. As you can see right there, he suffers from a chronic condition that impairs movement of his arms.
Trump going after reporters, naming names and taking no prisoners.
I have the right to ask the question. Go back to you. No.
No comment too brazen.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
No insult too low. Even Fox News didn't know how to deal with Trump.
Well, I don't think I've been treated fairly on Fox News.
With his sharp tongue and even sharper tweets, he owns the airwaves. And getting special treatment, giving morning show interviews over the phone.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you for being with us. Always interesting.
Sometimes he acts like he hates the media. He says they're dishonest, that many of them are biased.
I mean, they really do distort, and they are terrible people. Not all of them, but many of them.
Yet he uses big media platforms to spread that very message. Reporters getting more vocal, crying foul. A chill has come over the press corps. Are his Trumpisms finally catching up to him? Or is all this fact-checking pointless?
You're running for president of the United States. Your words matter. Truthfulness matters.
The irony of this saga, Trump is of the media. He's an insider. A tabloid cover boy in the 90s. A reality show ringleader in the 2000s.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
You're all fired. All four are fired.
Trump knows how the media machine works.
More than anything, the media is raising the white flag, right? I mean, all of the conventional wisdom about how presidential campaigns should work has been flouted by Donald Trump, right? There are certain rules that normally apply. You shouldn't be offending major constituencies. The things you say should have some sort of basis in reality. And if they don't, you should be punished for them. And we've gone through time and time again of things Donald Trump has said that should be disqualifying, should have kicked him from his front-runner status, if not out of the race entirely. Donald Trump is playing by different rules, and the media doesn't know what to do about it because we're playing a game of, like rational thought, and he's playing a game where he's appealing to voters' emotions, and it's working.
Let's see, who have we left out? Oh, I know one group of people that Trump's been really good at uniting. White supremacists, or Nazis, or the alt-right, whatever we're calling them these days. Probably the biggest haters that have ever lived. It's been 30 days since November 8th, and instead of admonishing the hate crimes that are going on, Trump's been throwing parties.
Republican elector Christopher Suprun from Texas says in a New York Times op-ed on Monday that he won't be casting vote for Donald Trump. He says about Trump, "I'm asked to cast a vote on December 19th for someone who shows daily he is not qualified for the office." Christopher further notes, he tweets day and night, but waited 2 days to offer sympathy to the Ohio State community after an attack there. He does not encourage civil discourse, but chooses to stoke fear and create outrage. Towards the end, he says, "The election of the next president is not yet a done deal. Electors of conscience can still do the right thing for the good of the country. Presidential electors have the legal right and a constitutional duty to vote their conscience. I believe electors should unify behind a Republican alternative. I pray my fellow electors will do their job and join with me in discovering who that person should be."
Donald Trump is a man who makes it unsafe and disrespects people and gathers hate groups. Let's face it, his actions and his words have done anything but bring unity over consistently his life, 70 years on the planet. I made this video for my mom, but I'm making it to all of the people who didn't vote on November 8th or who voted for Donald Trump on November 8th. If you're starting to regret your decision, you can still do something to fix it. I am not a complainer. I'm a person who does something about the problems that I see, or I talk about the positive stuff. This is huge. It's already one of the most historical moments that have happened in I don't know how many years, with the electors, with one elector quitting because he won't vote for Trump, and another Republican elector vowing that they are going to vote in a way that he does not become president. So don't be on the wrong side of history. Please join me making social media posts and photographs with the hashtag #HamiltonElectors. Pleading with the 2016 electors, respectfully, to vote in a way that Donald Trump does not get elected president on December 19th.